Hmm. Okay, thank you. Okay, then welcome back. So need to talk 1971 war. Indo-Pak war. The circumstances leading to formation of Bangladesh. You'll find that ever since the creation of Pakistan, the intensity was immediate outburst of the communalism that came at the last minute in a very intense, very strong rhetoric of separatism. So, when the Pakistan was created, the West and East Pakistan, most of the time the ruler was a military dictatorship, and particularly the peoples of East Pakistan, they favor democracy because the Bengal had a very strong point of national movement favoring the democratic rights and the people's right. So when most of the time Pakistan was under the military dictatorship, but the political aspirations of the East Pakistan was always for the democracy and the people's right. So they were not so much comfortable in the democratic values in the military dictatorship. They wanted establishment of democracy. So first level of contradiction between the contradiction between West and the East Pakistan. West and East Pakistan. So first factor was the peoples of East Pakistan had a different political aspiration, different political aspiration. Wanted democracy, and people's right. Democracy and people's right. World democracy. Wanted democracy and people's right. East Pakistan. So they were not comfortable with the military dictatorship. They were not comfortable with the military dictatorship. This is the first big expectation aspirations. Second, the budgetary allocation of budget. The budgetary allocation was always military oriented. Budgetary allocation was always military oriented. Military oriented. Always military oriented. So, East Pakistan wanted more expenditure on human development. Human development. More expenditure on human development. Third, almost 1 lakh military, almost 1/3, that is 1 lakh military of Pakistan was there in the East Pakistan. There was no separate cantonment. There was no separate cantonment, and there was plenty of cases of civil military conflict. Civil military conflict. Almost 1 lakh military was there in East Pakistan, and there was many cases of civil military conflict. Most of the militaries were there for militaries were there for promoting insurgency in Northeast. Promoting insurgency in Northeast. Northeastern states of India was severely under the insurgency because of the support and weapons provided from the East Pakistani based military of Pakistan. So we are talking about the different level of contradiction between East and the West Pakistan. East and West Pakistan. Different level of contradiction between East and West Pakistan. Fourth, Urdu was made official language. Urdu was made official language of Pakistan. So Bengalis, they had to learn Urdu, to get the government job. To get the government job. And Bengali had a very strong affinity towards the language. Very strong affinity towards the language. Bengali had a very strong affinity towards language. So therefore they opposed the imposition of Urdu. So there are various levels of contradiction that immediately come across after creation of East Pakistan. Series of the events we will discuss. Rest of the things is Indo-Pak relation, Indo-Bangladesh relations. Fifth, General Yahya Khan, he started democratic process under the impact of America, the democratic process under the pressure of America. So there were two political parties in Pakistan. West Pakistan, Pakistan People's Party, PPP. Pakistan People's Party, led by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Awami League, by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Awami League by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. So Mujibur Rahman not only got all the seats of the East Pakistan, but majority in the National Assembly. But the imposition of the condition that they don't accept any Bengali to become the president. So Sheikh Mujib not only got all the seats of the East Pakistan, but majority in the National Assembly of Pakistan. So therefore, in such condition, Sheikh Mujib was arrested at undisclosed location, and martial law was imposed, emergency was imposed in Pakistan. So Sheikh Mujib arrested and taken on an undisclosed location, creating massive unrest in the East Pakistan. Uneasy calm, and at the same time, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, he was made the president of Pakistan after some time. So the reaction came from the East Pakistan. Operation Searchlight was started by Pakistani military. Operation Searchlight started by Pakistani military. To make East Pakistan leaderless. Operation Searchlight was started by Pakistani military to make East Pakistan leaderless. Youth, intelligentsia, intellectuals was targeted in large number. Youth, intelligentsia, intellectuals targeted in large number. Intellectuals targeted in large number. Operation Searchlight. So huge migration from Bangla, East Pakistan to the neighboring states of India. Huge migration from East Pakistan to neighboring states of India. The refugees coming in the large number in Bihar, Assam, Bengal, Tripura, West Bengal. Tripura, large number of refugees. So it was genocide of Bengali population. Not only Hindus, the Muslims were targeted in large number. So youth of the Bengali was targeted in large number. The objective of the government was to make entire Bengal leaderless. Entire Bengal was to be made leaderless. Leaderless. So entire Bengal was made leaderless. But at the same time, there was genocide and then the huge migration of the population in West Bengal, Tripura, Assam, Bihar. So crores of the people had migrated from the neighboring states. So the refugee crisis of India, the refugee crisis in India, causing a great economic burden and problem of social conflict. And refugees were settled in large number. There was no planned settlement, so they came in conflict with the locals. So causing great economic burden, big economic burden, and the problem of social conflict. So intervention of India should be there. Although Indira Gandhi tried her level best to find the international attention, but normally the Western countries, they overlook the problems of the Eastern region. So Europe's problem is the world's problem, but the world's problem is not the Europe's problem. This is not a today's affair, but it's the entire world. The Europeans, they are not coming out of the mindset that the problem of Europe is a problem of world, but the world's problem is not the Europe's problem. So therefore here, the problem of refugees in India and the problem of genocide of the Bengalis in Bangladesh, East Pakistan, was hardly addressed by the Western countries. And simply the Americans were utilizing the position, leverage of the west side and east side to strategic gain with the Pakistan. So worst refugee crisis. So India has to think its own. The role of India was very much confined just to give support to the refugees. support to refugee. Role of India was very much confined to support to refugees. Youth and paramilitary forces of East Pakistan, the Bengalis, they constituted Mukti Bahini, and Gono Bahini. Mukti Bahini and Gono Bahini. They were trained by the Indian military in self-defense. Self-defense. In order to fight the atrocities of the Pakistani military there, self-defense. Mukti Bahini and Gono Bahini. Youth and the paramilitary forces, those who deserted the police and the military, taken shelter in India, so they formed Mukti Bahini and Gono Bahini. They are in self-defense. Mukti Bahini and Gono Bahini had started the guerrilla war against the Pakistani military. Against the Pakistani military. Guerrilla war against the Pakistani military. Pakistani military. As expected, Pakistan invaded over India from the western side. From the west side, from west. But timely information, the role of RAW and military intelligence RAW was established in 1969. So military intelligence led to the minimum damage to the Indian military, no damage at all. Because of the timely input provided by RAW and the military intelligence, there was no damage because of this air attack. The air force was used by Pakistan to invade in the western side. Western side. India activated its ground operation crossed the ceasefire line and 9,000 square kilometer area in POK was captured by Indian military. So India activated the ground operation and 9,000 square kilometer in POK was captured by Indian military. So captured by Indian military. Role of Indian Navy was also very important. Role of Indian Navy. Role of Indian Navy. Navy started two operations, Operation Trident and Operation Python. These two operations was initiated by Indian Navy. Operation Trident and Operation Python. So Operation Trident and Operation Python. So under this operation, there was a planned attack on Karachi port, attack on Karachi port, and blocking any connection by waterways from west to east Pakistan. West to east Pakistan. So role of Indian Navy was also very important. Operation Trident and Operation Python. So planned attack on Karachi port and blocking any connection by waterways from west to east Pakistan. In this effort, PNS Ghazi, this is a submarine PNS Ghazi. This is a submarine submerged in was misguided and drowned in Visakhapatnam. So Pakistan lost only single submarine. It was misguided and it was drowned in Visakhapatnam. America tried to influence the war. America tried to influence the war tried to influence the war and declared to send USS Enterprise, the 7th Naval Fleet, in Indian Ocean. Indian Ocean. 7th Naval Fleet in Indian Ocean. USS Enterprise. But it was counterbalanced by USSR. Counterbalanced by USSR. By sending nuclear submarine in Indian Ocean. By sending nuclear submarine in Indian Ocean. So finally, 1 lakh military had surrendered. In Golf Course, Dhaka, and Prime Minister Indira Gandhi herself announced in Parliament that is the creation of new country, Bangladesh. New country, Bangladesh. So advantage to India in this war. Advantage to India in this war. 9,000 square kilometer area. Of POK under the control of India. 93,000 prisoners of war along with Lieutenant General A. Kenyaji, $93,000 prisoners of war along with Lieutenant General A. Kenyaji in the India's control. So it was the right time to bargain at all its positions. So finally, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto came to India, Simla Agreement between India and Pakistan. Second July 1972. Between Pakistani President Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and Indira Gandhi. Ceasefire line converted into LOC, line of control. Line of control. Neither party can alter the position. Can change the position. Neither party can change the position. Unilaterally can change this line of control by any legal interpretation or military intervention unilaterally. So this is a line of control. Neither party can change the position unilaterally, nor any legal interpretation, nor any legal interpretation. India agreed to return the captured territory of POK, return captured territory of POK, captured territory of POK, except Kargil and Haji Pir Pass. Kargil and Haji Pir Pass. So Kargil came to us during Simla Agreement. So Kargil came to us during Simla Agreement. Haji Pir Pass was strategically very important because all the infiltration from Pakistan to Kashmir generally come from here. Haji Pir Pass, like everyone that wanted use the position to bargain over the POK, and actually pressure was built on the Pakistani establishment. But Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was not in position to commit such thing because of the military pressure on him was very high. So on the behalf of military, he could not take any decision, unilaterally sitting at Simla. And he agreed to return empty-handed at the last time. So this is the situation that India wanted to give him a chance to build momentum or to make the consent of the military for such concessions. So agreed to return the captured territory of POK. Secondly, prisoners of war and Lieutenant General Niazi was handed over to Pakistan. any issue between India and Pakistan that had become a bilateral issue. So Kashmir also became bilateral without any intervention of third party. Without any intervention of third party. So role of UN on Kashmir has got over. It had become a bilateral issue. So role of UN on Kashmir had got over. Without any intervention of third party. So rule of UN on Kashmir has got over. Without any intervention of third party. Role of United Nations Military Observer Group of India and Pakistan was also over. So role of United Nations Military Observer Group for India and Pakistan. That the historic mistake of the UN when we went to the UN for the Kashmir was deeply corrected during the Simla Agreement. And the role of United Nations Military Observer Group in India and Pakistan was over. United Nations Military Observer Group for India and Pakistan was over. Role of United Nations Military Observer Group for India and Pakistan was over. So now the issue of Kashmir, that is the issue between India and Pakistan. UN Military Observer Group for India and Pakistan was over. So rest of the things like promotion of sports, promotion of film and music. So as usual, always India pressurized to back at POK as it was integral part of India. And Zulfikar Ali Bhutto agreed that some agreement will be visible and some that will be under carpet, self-understanding. And gradually we will implement all these things. So they were agreed to go for settlement of Kashmir issue between India and Pakistan. So role of United Nations Military Observer Group. Everybody wanted to stop the hostility from both sides, because if the Zulfikar Ali Bhutto would have returned empty-handed without the soldier, Anyway, Pakistani military would have hanged him. And the permanent conflict between India and Pakistan. So government of India wanted to settle as quick as possible, the settlement of the dispute as quick as possible. So therefore the role of UN in the affairs of state with the Simla agreement between India and Pakistan was over. This is the reason why Pakistan not talking about the Simla agreement and always insist back on the 1948. Already Pakistan had signed this agreement. So this is a creation of Bangladesh and then rule of Simla agreement. So except Kargil and Hajipir Pass, two strategic areas needed to take control over the Indian administered Kashmir, the Indian Kashmir, and to take control over the Leh Kargil route also. So that was very important part. But issues of POK was almost given a blank drawing by LOC. Neither party can alter the LOC unilaterally or with any international or the legal interpretations. But Indira Gandhi, the time, this is the climax of the Indian military system. Climax of the Indian military system. Thereafter, military issues keep on rising. Now we'll talk about the emergency 1975. The 2 years India was under the emergency imposed on 26th June 1975. So there was a big issue involved in during the time of Indira Gandhi, that in the election Indira Gandhi had already made very tall promises, but none of the promises was fulfilled. During her 1971 election, tall promises was made, but none of the promises was fulfilled. So there was a general discontentment among the people about the electoral promises. Secondly, there was a huge economic crisis, refugee crisis from East Pakistan, causing great tension in the eastern states, northeastern states. There was a drought condition, less monsoon, no waters in the rivers. So hydroelectric project had failed. Many industries were shut down, leading to unemployment. So in general, the economic scenario was very passing through very difficult process. So from 1971 election to 1974, these 3 years, the assessment of her rule was made. Assessment of her rule was made in these 3 years. So the problems of Indira Gandhi by 1974. So deterioration of Indian economy, shortage of food grains continued in India in spite of the beginning of Green Revolution, especially due to burden of feeding. There was a huge economic crisis. Bangladeshi refugees food shortage resulted into economic crisis at the rural areas. So there was a continued droughts in 1972-73 further aggravated the situation. Drought had resulted in decline in hydropower production. Decline in hydropower production. And this had all impacted the industrial revolution. Industrial situation, many industries was closed. So drought also resulted in decline of hydropower, and this all impacted the industrial situation. reduction in the raw material, lack of purchasing power in the rural areas, and decline in power generation resulted into huge industrial sickness and workers' unrest. Industrial sickness, raw material production had declined, lack of purchasing power in the rural areas, decline in power generation resulted in workers' unrest. Resulted in workers' unrest. So the oil crisis of 1973, four-time increase of oil prices further aggravated inflation. So this was a global crisis, and because of that, not less than four times the prices of the oil was increased. So thereafter, it had affected the entire price rise of necessary goods. So therefore, by 1973-74, the Indian economy suffered due to shortage of food grains, inflation, and unemployment. This all was resulted into social unrest in the rural and the urban areas. In rural and urban areas. So there was a strikes at many places by the students, industrial workers, businessmen, etc., and the unrest was more in the urban areas. So due to these factors, the increase in oil prices, decline in hydroelectric power leading to the decline in the industrial production, purchasing power in the rural areas had decreased, food crisis despite industrial evolution. So all these things had created huge unrest. Then the next level of program was the political corruption at all level. First time you can see the corruption charges was directly labeled on Prime Minister because Sanjay Gandhi, the son of Prime Minister, had taken the contract of Maruti car building, the 50,000 Maruti car building, and it was said that there was a major transaction was leveled. So there was a rampant political corruption at all levels. And first time, even the Prime Minister had to face corruption allegations. Indira Gandhi had faced corruption allegation because her son Sanjay Gandhi had taken the contract for producing 50,000 Maruti car. And it was said that there was a major transaction was made during this. There was growing detachment of important social group from the Congress party. Those social groups were very much associated with the party and constituting a very important base. Constituting the important base. So middle class mainly due to price rise and corruption. Capitalist class due to nationalization or socialism or MRPT Act. Rich peasants due to second phase of land reform. So land distribution was made. And at the same time, the opposition parties wanted to take advantage or the chances of their revival, were desperate for the revival and looking for an opportunity to subvert the rule of Indira Gandhi. So opposition party wanted to revive its power, looking at the condition of economy. Meanwhile, the government of Chimanbhai Patel in Gujarat, there was violence in the state, failure of the government. So Indira Gandhi imposed president rule in Gujarat. But Indira Gandhi knew that it will spread to other parts of country. Thus, the imposition of percent rule was important. So there was violence against the Chiman Bhai Patel government in Gujarat. So the discontentment against the government was going on. The problem was inflation, political competition, unemployment. And then the next phase of movement had started in Bihar, led by students, left-wing extremist group, and a counter-corruption and employment. They wanted removal of Bihar. They wanted removal of Bihar government and request J.P. Narayan to lead the movement. J.P. forwarded two conditions. The non-violent movement and movement should not just be limited to Bihar. Jayaprakash Narayan, a veteran freedom fighter, and after the independence, he had taken retirement from active politics and he was only in the social work. So JP agreed to take Jayaprakash Narayan agreed to take the leadership. That movement won't be limited to Bihar and the movement will be non-violent movement. Meanwhile, Indira Gandhi had promoted A.N. Roy as Chief Justice of India. So therefore, superseding 2-3 senior judges. So obviously, J.P. Narayan had charged Indira Gandhi of bringing the Soviet dictator type of government in India and taking control of the judiciary as well. And at the same time, this is the condition when the Indira Gandhi herself was her membership of the member of the parliament was under the question because Allahabad High Court was about to deliver justice about the electoral malpractices in her constituency. So in this situation, the promotion of N. Roy at the post of Chief Justice was not less than a big issues that had created. So JP movement, it had created its objective that to defend democracy and bring down the authoritarian rule of Indira Gandhi. Earlier, J.P. Narayan raised question over the appointment of N. Roy as the Chief Justice of India, overriding the seniority of many judges. He also demanded to bring down the corrupt government of Bihar. But he charged Indira Gandhi of trying to establish a Soviet kind of dictatorship. Indira Gandhi wanted to take control over the judiciary by promoting N. Roy. So to bring in the Bihar government, which Indira Gandhi accepted, and she removed Bihar government, but JP was not ready to relent only with this issue. So the main objective was to bring down the authoritative government of Indira Gandhi. So JP Narayan gave a call for extra constitutional agitation. Extra constitutional agitation, going beyond the domain of peaceful protest. He gave a call for boycott of schools in the colleges. Above all, they gave a call to police and armed forces not to obey the order. In a way, it was a revolution without ideology and future political program. GP movement is also noted by the development of personal rivalry between Indira Gandhi and JP Narayan. So now he was into, above all, they gave a call to police and armed forces not to obey the order. So in a way, it was revolution without ideology and future political program. So some of the sequence of the events that led to the emergency, the JP movement in Bihar and Gaya firing. So in Gaya, there was a police firing in which many students had died. So JP and Indira Gandhi communication over issue, removal of Bihar government. So Indira Gandhi agreed to dismiss the Congress government of Bihar. George Fernandez a labor leader, had conducted strikes in railway 3 weeks continuously. Army was called in to restore railway operations. And assassination of Lalit Narayan Mishra, he was a railway minister. That was the beginning of the cult of violence. Beginning of cult of violence. The main issue that got involved was the judgment of the Allahabad High Court, in which Indira Gandhi was accused of election malpractices and then moral strength to the JP movement. Allahabad High Court gave the judgment that Indira Gandhi is accused of electoral malpractices, and therefore that gave the moral support to JP movement. Although Indira Gandhi had taken a stay order from Supreme Court permitted Indira Gandhi to attend the parliament but restricted the right to vote in the parliament. And Morarji Desai in Gujarat sat on the fast unto death against the president rule. The Congress government was dismissed in Gujarat. Morarji Desai was also Congress leader, and he sat on the fast unto death against the dismissal of Chimanbhai Patel government. And then judgment of Allahabad High Court gave further strength to the JP movement. And JP demanded resignation of Indira Gandhi, but she had taken a stay order from Supreme Court. Indira Gandhi was allowed to go to parliament but not to vote. So at this critical juncture, both JP and Indira Gandhi did not so much believe in the democratic process and institutions. JP insisted demanding education. JP demanded registration of Indira Gandhi. On the other hand, Indira Gandhi, without resigning on moral ground, I am pointing another person and calling for election, chose the route of emergence. So JP should have demanded for early election, rather resignation of Indira Gandhi. So JP called for all India civil disobedience, mass protest to prevent the government to function. And he even called the army and the police forces not to obey the order of the government. So 26 June 1975, Indira Gandhi declared emergency on ground of internal disturbances. Declared emergency on the ground of internal disturbances. So there was a very positive impact you can see during the time of emergency. In general public, it was a very good impact. So it was having the impact in such a way that there was control of anti-social elements, control over smuggling, black marketing, resulted in control of inflation. Restoration and discipline and improvement of administration. 20-point program of Indira Gandhi, like liquidation of debt, abolition of bonded labor, land reform, distribution of land, enforcement of minimum wages. So in general, the impact of emergency was looking good. All the opposition leaders were in jail. So liquidation of debt, abolition of bonded labor, land reforms. Liquidation of debt, abolition of bonded labor, land reform, distribution of land, enforcement of minimum wages. Even Sanjay Gandhi had also started some of the programs. Five-point program. बहुत सीवियर पेन है. Constitution was repeatedly amended during emergency with attempt to change the basic structure of the constitution. Like removal of judicial review. There was right of extra constitutional power. Like Sanjay Gandhi was not in the limelight before declaration of emergency, but gradually during emergency he started yielding more power in the administration. So suddenly the rise of Sanjay Gandhi on the origin of politics. He was the General Secretary of the Youth Congress. He completely controlled it and it became more important and powerful than the parent organization, the main body of the Congress. He also started controlling administration of Delhi. For Delhi, he has so much of the program, family planning, afforestation, removal of illiteracy, abolition of dowry, slum clearance. But suddenly, you'll find that because of the intervention of Sanjay Gandhi and other extra constitutional body, there was huge discontent. There was a violence and curfew in Old City. In the name of slum clearance, 60,000 people were dispossessed. So Sanjay Gandhi and others more power than PMO. And lastly, the withdrawal of emergency. There was intelligence report that Indira Gandhi's popularity had increased significantly. Therefore, if election will be there, she could regain the power back. So, disillusioned by this, and second, Indira Gandhi herself was not happy with the rise of extra constitutional body and the image of India being projected in a different manner in the world global politics. So, therefore, Indira Gandhi all of a sudden decided to withdraw the emergency. government media started propagating the leadership qualities of Sanjay Gandhi, who was even received by CMs during his visit to the state. So this extra constitutional power exercised by Sanjay Gandhi further defamed emergency and stature of Indira Gandhi. Withdrawal of emergency. 18th January 1977. Emergency was withdrawn all of a sudden. There were various opinions why emergency was revoked. That's a mislead by the intelligence bureau that popularity of Indira Gandhi had increased and she would back in power after election. So 18th January 1977, after 2 years of imposition of emergency, she decided to take it back. Herself, she born and brought up in a very democratic atmosphere. So she was not happy with the rise of extra authority. And international media was also not portraying India in a larger democratic influence. So India's democratic credential was on its doubt. So another opinion was that herself she was not happy with the rise of democratic institutions. So she decided to take back emergency on 18th January 1977. There are many opinions regarding the taken back of the emergency. That felt it was agreed. And finally, the 18th January 1977, she has decided to take back. So misled by intelligence reports and herself was not happy with the emergence of extra constitutional authority. So after she has taken back the emergency, we can see that she lost the election and Janata Party government came to power. Reorganization of states can be taken on the basis of language, yes. Not only language, the viability of the state, economic viability of the state, its connectivity, all would be taken into account. There are many movements going on still for the reorganization of a state. Bidar is there, some part of Bengal, we have the Bodo demand. India was in need to settle the 1970 war immediately without any intervention of the international community. So already larger damage to the Pakistan has done by liberating Bangladesh. So anything could be given by step by step. So Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was agree that we will implement some of the plans secretly. So obviously Kashmir is an integral part of India, including POK. Now anything is between India and Pakistan without any third party mediation. Indus Water Treaty is different than the Simla Agreement. You will study in international relation. Some change of enclaves with the Bangladesh was done, but it's a very difficult because it's coming in the mainland of the Bangladesh, so that the northeastern states would connectivity with the seawater. Not collegium system. The Indira Gandhi had influenced the finer authority of the government. Collegium system is later date. Okay, so that's all for the day. Some tooth pain had created some slow voice. So we'll see you tomorrow then.